Hi, my name is Marietje Schaake. I'm a member of the European Parliament for the Dutch D66 party and the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats for Europe. Very sorry I cannot join you in person today at the Civil Society Media Seminar in Nicosia. Of course, I'm most happy to answer your questions via email or Twitter or otherwise. As this year's seminar examines the challenging issue of media freedom in the Euro-Mediterranean, I want to start in Jordan. The transformative developments in North Africa and the broader Middle East have also prompted the Jordanian authorities to increase repression of political dissent and has shown the world a different face of the relatively reform-minded and Western-oriented royal family. Only last week, the king approved a new law that requires any website in Jordan whose political activity includes publishing news, investigative reports, articles and comments related to the internal or external affairs of the kingdom to be licensed, and holds the sites responsible for the accuracy of the content and for users' comments posted. This is a move that clearly threatens freedom online and expression online. The law might also hamper Jordan's booming e-commerce platforms like Souk.com and Marca VIP. Unfortunately, Jordan is just one of many joining the growing list of countries that target unrestricted access to the internet and information online through legislation. China, Iran and Cuba are notorious for building electronic walls that cut off internet users. These de facto intranets are governed by strict terms of use that regulate access to information and monitor all internet traffic. Technologies and internet access have drastically changed our world, creating both exciting new opportunities but also troubling developments. Our world is increasingly connected. Our lives cross borders all day long. Just think of how we consume and produce media and how it has changed over the past 5 years. We read the New York Times from Jakarta, listen to Adele in Johannesburg, or watch a Bollywood movie in Montevideo. But reporting about human rights and democracy still used to come mainly through traditional media, NGOs and governments. Nowadays, citizens themselves are routinely capturing the world around them with their mobile devices and share these images for others around the world to see. Human rights and democracy are increasingly central to this, from reporting local corruption to filming police brutality. Witness the more than 100,000 clips uploaded to YouTube since the beginning of violent crackdowns against demonstrators in Syria. In Egypt in 2011, a young man, Khaled Said, was kicked to death by the police. Many Egyptians considered him a symbol for what could also happen to them with total impunity. Some of these people created a Facebook group that provided a rallying point for young Egyptians. And this network eventually played a part in helping people come out, join together on the streets on January 25th. Democracy activists were able to outflank the aging Mubarak regime, and the rest is history, as they say. While technologies have changed a lot, universal human rights still need to be protected. The question is how to do so in this hyper-connected world. According to our treaties, human rights need to both be protected and promoted by the European Union. But the EU can only credibly protect and promote digital freedom if we too have our own house in order. Increasingly, mass censorship, mass surveillance, monitoring, tracking and tracing of dissidents are among standard toolkits in repressive regimes. But we learned that the EU and companies that are based here continue to provide information and communication technologies as well as operational support to repressive regimes and their state agencies and companies. Human rights defenders instead deserve EU support and in any case should not be targeted with tools and technologies developed and exported from within the EU. Besides enforcing restrictions on individuals accused of violating human rights in Syria, but also Iran, the tools with which these governments repress are also subject to EU restrictive measures. But EU policies have been too slow in responding to grave human rights violations. By the time these so-called ICT sanctions entered into force in January 2012, it had been almost 2 months since the EU foreign ministers had announced them on paper. We should implement an early warning mechanism in order to prevent the export of technologies by European companies to regimes that systematically abuse human rights. By performing human rights impact assessments in the research and development phase of technological products, we can more easily and sooner on identify the possible threats to human rights emerging from new innovations and new products and services. The context in which technologies will be used is important here too. While building in technical capacity for lawful intercept is required through EU law, technologies with a technical backdoor are used to permanently trace dissidents in countries where the rule of law does not exist. In a globally connected world, we should look more closely at the hands in which technologies fall. Access to internet is increasingly enabling fundamental rights as well, such as freedom of expression and assembly, access to information, but also freedom of the press and media. And as the rapporteur in the European Parliament on a report setting out a digital freedom strategy in the EU's foreign policy, and as well reporting on freedom of the press in a new report, I would like to connect the dots in order to assess the impact of technologies and the internet on press and media, and of course in the context of societies as a whole. As a part of a bigger digital freedom strategy, the EU should also re-strategize and optimize its efforts to foster and protect press freedom worldwide. It's impossible for democracies to bloom or persist without freedom of the press. This is an essential component of democratic societies and a precondition for ensuring accountability and transparency in public life. The exchange of ideas, investigative reporting and active social debates perpetuate and redefine civil rights and freedoms. Many governments are quite afraid of these voices. They silence reporters either through legislation or sometimes through intimidation or even attacks. Freedom and independence of the press should be one of the main objectives of the EU's foreign policy. And there are several concrete steps we in Europe should take. Bilateral agreements between the EU and third countries, as well as, for example, financial aid, should be made conditional on safeguards for freedom of the press and media. The EU could also step up its efforts to support media that serve audiences under authoritarian regimes, such as through BBC Farsi or Radio Zamaneh, which broadcast to Iran or Farsi-speaking audiences. The EU has the responsibility in its direct neighborhood to ensure that hard-fought freedoms survive the often difficult transitions to freer and democratic societies. Too often media freedoms are easily restricted on religious or repressive grounds. Censorship is on the rise due to vague laws and regulations, particularly online. Only moments after societies had established a fragile move towards freedom, the windows are closed again. We've seen it before and we're also witnessing it today, and it is now time to help these transitions move in the right direction. The EU should take the lead in globally promoting and protecting human rights and fundamental freedoms, both online and offline. Besides being the world's largest trading bloc, the EU is also a community of values, which should be at the core of our external actions. Only by synergizing our trade, security and foreign policies, by aligning our values and our interests, the EU can fully leverage its power and act as a global player. Thank you for your attention, and I look forward to having an actual discussion via Twitter or email. Thank you.